Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, a state senator who may not have the biggest poll numbers, but certainly seems to be leading with ideas on how the taxpayers can save money. Randi Thompson has the rundown.
We'll be talking today to Senator Bob Beers, the conservative Republican senator from Las Vegas.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Bob Crowell, Bill Brainard, and Larry Matheis. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Corporations moving to the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center require reliable power, fiber optic communication, and clean water sources. And yet, there's another amenity we're very proud of here at TRI, rail service. So far, we've built over 2 miles of railroad track, and another 3.6 is under construction. When companies need to transport freight, we're going to help them move it quickly and efficiently. Welcome to the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, along with Randi Thompson, here we talk to State Senator Bob Beers. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
So, Bob, I'm going to ask the pertinent question that everyone seems to be concerned about right now. What kind of first lady will your wife be? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Now, hopefully we'll get a little more substantive issues.
I will tell you, Randi, that I married far, far above my station, and I suspect she'll do a good job.
Let's turn to perhaps some issues here. You came out last week proposing to cut the.
I'm sorry. Did you say issues?
Yes, sir.
It's a rarity, I know.
It's on this program. We try to stick to issues. You came out with a proposal that would eliminate $150 million that would mainly affect the counties by cutting the vehicle registration fee in half. The response to this has not been positive from the counties.
Well, nor has it been from Dina Titus, which is kind of ironic because she's been stumping throughout Nevada talking about limited government, lower taxes. It's like she's turned into me. And then finally, the real Dina, which was apparently hiding there inside, came bursting forth last week and called this plan irresponsible. In fact, virtually every local government so affected will have more money the year after we do this than they did the year before. Their revenue growth is bigger every year than this small component of their revenue. And in the meantime, we would be able to give back to working Nevadans half of the money they pay in that DMV car tax every year for the rest of our lives.
But there were some counties that would be adversely affected, though, correct?
I don't believe well, depends on how you count adversely affected. I think the families in those counties would be positively affected. The governments might consider being adversely affected, but like I said, in virtually every county we've looked at so far, and there may be some that I haven't looked at yet, close enough to determine this, but after the hullabaloo last week, I went through and crunched the numbers, and virtually every local government involved here, including Washoe County, is going to see, and Reno and Sparks, is going to see larger revenue the year after we do this than the year before. Because again, this tax component is such a tiny piece of their total revenue pie, and their revenue pie is increasing so rapidly year after year after year. Based on looking at the last 5 years' average growth rates, this is going to be a smaller amount taken away than they're going to see increased anyway, which means they'll end up with more money the next year after we do this.
And Anjanette Damon's article last week on this, she quoted John Sherman, the Washoe County Budget Director, said of the $11 million his government could lose from the plan, that this would definitely hurt. Do you not believe that?
No, not for a moment. Look, if I can show you this graphic. This is representative of one particular branch of government, but the blue line is 1994 wages paid state employees in March of 94 increased by inflation. The red line is actual pay. So we're doing quite well treating our public employees well, and I don't advocate we stop doing that, but it's pretty clear that they have more money than they know what to do with. Look, property values have been going up, skyrocketing. That's why we had to do that reform last session. And that has created a windfall profit amount for these local governments. And even with that reform we did last session, that's going to essentially constrain property tax proceeds at about twice population growth and inflation, twice the rate of growth of we the people. These local governments are doing well. We can afford to give people back this money.
Well, another issue you came up with was reducing the gas tax by about 5 cents, at the same time that the governor's economic panel is saying, hey, we need to increase the gas tax. Now, it's ironic because Vegas is second in the country in gas tax, 53 cents a gallon. The only one higher is Hawaii. So why is there such a discrepancy with you saying let's lower the gas tax and the governor's folks saying we need to increase it to pay for all the roads?
Well, we have a philosophic difference. I think that's the short answer. But the actual plan I had suggested was suspending the portion of gas tax that we can as the state, because that 53 cents or whatever is composed of state, local, and federal taxes composite together. The state portion is about 18 cents a gallon, and I proposed that we suspend that for just 2 months. And then put it back in the meantime, make that spending up out of our rainy day fund. It would have been about a quarter of our total budgeted savings for this biennium, and I think it would have been a nice bit of relief for both our residents and our visitors. But again, that idea didn't go anywhere.
You know, I have to say that I think that it's kind of an interesting situation where we sit now with the price of gasoline in itself and the enormous profits that the oil companies have been making, and the talk now of perhaps a windfall profits tax on the oil companies coming back again. But at the same time, in the dichotomy in the state of Nevada, would you not agree, Senator Beers, is that we have a need to spend money on either building roads or fixing the roads we currently have, and it's a huge shortfall. How do we balance those two out?
Long haul, we're going to have to look at something different. You know, right now we have these hybrid cars that get 60, 70 miles to the gallon, and within a few years they're no longer going to be hybrid. They're going to simply be plugged in the garage at night, and they will consume no gas. Therefore, tying our road building program to a gasoline-based funding source is probably a historical anachronism that we'll all look back in 50 years and laugh. Certainly, nobody who drives in our state can argue that we don't need money for road construction. Although, by the same token, let's not forget that we've got a federal transportation budget that's taking gas tax money and building bridges to nowhere in Alaska and a ferry boat service across Lake Tahoe.
You know, that's very much needed.
That's
going to help with the pollution problems of Lake Tahoe, I believe, is the reasoning behind that. Let's take a break. Let's come back more with State Senator Bob Beers right after this. This satellite interview is sponsored by Scott Craigie and Alris Consulting.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Happy Hour at the Peppermill.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers with State Senator Bob Beers, who is running for governor.
So, Bob, I just have to ask you, you're the only one talking issues. Everybody else, well, they look good, but we don't get a lot out of them. Why is there this trend, except for you, of course, this trend towards not talking issues, not being substantive in a campaign?
That's not a fair question, is it? I can't answer for why my colleagues in this race are dodging issues and dodging appearances, for that matter. All I can tell you is that I am running for governor. I think our state is worth saving. I think it needs some saving. Let me throw one thing at you. In 2000, the Census Bureau says that our median household income was 6 percentage points above average, and in 2004 it's fallen down to just below average. I believe that our state is engaging in harmful policies and that we need to turn that around. We need to reduce the growth of government to the same rate of growth of we the people.
And the polls that were taken by the Las Vegas Review-Journal last week certainly said that your view was very popular. Let me ask you a question on this road issue. You kind of lean towards the libertarian side, to say the least. What would you think about privatizing road building in the state to a certain extent?
Well, you're going to pay one way or you're going to pay the other. We've already got enough projects underway that really can't be turned back from. That we have to go forward with the way we're doing it. If we want to look down the road at doing some alternative funding projects, toll roads, that kind of thing, I'm certainly willing to work with the legislature and investigate that. I'm sure it's going to be discussed because, as I said in the last segment, that with our funding source for road construction tied to gasoline, and our gasoline consumption going down per mile driven, there's a mismatch there that's going to not work, and we're going to have to do something different.
Well, I think you're very optimistic about that in the relatively near future, because I think that as long as we're still out there driving SUVs and Hummers, that gas is going to be consumed at a great rate. Let me ask you about the raise for...
I saw my first hybrid SUV a couple of weeks ago.
Well, yeah,
out there.
but unfortunately, I believe that the hybrid SUV, they use the hybrid portion of it to supercharge the vehicle rather than it being more inefficient with gas. So it's not really helping them. But it's coming, and I agree with you.
It's 36 miles to the gallon. That's not bad.
Okay. There was a tax that was passed in Clark County to give to hire more police officers in Clark County, and it appears to be that it looks like a 40% raise was going to be given. It got stopped at the commission level. What's your thoughts on that and how that affects other public employee raises, both in Southern Nevada and around the state?
Well, our public employee raises over the last 10 years have been going up far in excess, far more rapidly than inflation has been. So they're definitely beyond cost of living increases, and that's one of the components that's fueling this massive expansion of state and local government. We have to get a handle on it if we're to carry on as a relatively functional society and a healthy economy. And toward that end, like I said, I've got the task initiative out there, which is going to constrain government growth without permission of the people to the same rate of growth as the people. We're looking at giving people back this half of their DMV taxes. So we're doing things or suggesting things that would directly and indirectly influence that in the proper direction, I think.
So, Bob, I heard Lorraine Hunt sing Saturday night at EJ's Cafe up here, and, well, it just begged the question, what's your talent in this race?
What's my talent in this race?
Besides being one of the more funnier, dry-wit guys.
I don't know. I don't cast it in terms of talent. Look, I've been trying to rein this government growth in the legislature for 8 years, 4 sessions. Snake wrestled my way up to vice chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, and I was still unable to stop an increase in spending approximately twice population growth and inflation just earlier this year. I believe that if you want to have a government that only grows as fast as we do, you have to be governor to propose the budget. I think the statistic is that no legislature has ever changed a governor's proposed budget by more than 3%. And that's why I'm running for governor. I have lived here 35 years. I am enjoying a life where I'm able to raise my children blocks away from my parents. And I had to
Senator,
grow up
that's where we got to leave it,
of miles.
Sir, that's where we got to leave it. You'll be welcome back anytime. We always appreciate you being here. State Senator Bob Beers on Nevada Newsmakers. We'll be right back. This satellite interview is sponsored by Scott Craigie and Alris Consulting.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. Just 10 minutes east of Sparks. We're proud that Walmart and other Fortune 500 companies have chosen Tahoe Reno Industrial Center to relocate their businesses. We have sites from under 5 acres to well over 500 acres, and with all of the amenities that every successful corporation requires. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, and we're building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The Nevada Beer Wholesalers encourages the responsible consumption of beer. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association are sponsors and participants in many community-based efforts such as school education programs, safe ride home, recycling programs, alcohol-free after-prom and graduation parties, safe voting campaigns, and designated driver programs. They are family-owned businesses employing 2,000 Nevadans. They also collect and pay the state excise tax. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association, delivering more than just beer.
Northern Nevada is on a roll, attaining top national rankings as a great place to live and do business. How does the region stay on top? The 21st Annual Governor's Industry Appreciation Awards will feature Joel Kotkin, the internationally recognized author who wrote Inc. magazine's story named Reno the best place to do business in America in 2005. Join us November 8th at the Reno Hilton. For tickets, visit www.eaton.org or call 829-3700.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you two great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beefsteaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And our Power panel today, we start out with Bill Brainard. Welcome to the program as always. Bob Crowell with the Crowell Group.
Good morning.
And Larry Matheis, Executive Director of the Nevada State Medical Association. Wanted to just touch on one thing that Senator Beers mentioned here, and knowing that, as I mentioned on the program, he is somewhat libertarian, to say the least. We've seen with Katrina that the private industry can be so much more efficient than government, and I was kind of a little surprised he didn't just jump on the idea of privatizing the road industry.
Well, when you talk about, you have to be careful what you really mean when you say privatizing the road industry, because there are certain, not to get in the weeds on this, but there are certain ways that you can privatize, like you can take projects and privatize the entire project. Which in some degree makes sense, rather than have, you can have the private industry do all the planning and all the design work and things of that nature, so it's a turnkey. I mean, that's one way of doing privatization, but at the end of the day, we're all paying for it anyway. So, but I think that there is some merit in looking at, let's privatize the whole process. Don't take it out of the oversight of government, but let's privatize the process from design to construction to going forward. I think there's
and like the defense industry, there's unlikely to be any abuse.
Well,
you got your crown back.
Yeah. With what Bob said, that's the way Washoe County currently does it with the RTC. Right. They don't have. We hire outside contractors to do the work. We do the planning, but they do the work. So we are utilizing some of that right here, Sam, up here.
And I think that is generally the case. It's always a public-private mix of contracts and oversight. The problem is the money is going to come from public sources, and the impulse to tax restraint and tax reductions do raise the questions. Taxes are government's source of funding services, and if you reduce taxes in any way, you then have to look at which services will be concomitantly reduced. And I think that the discussion tends to be bifurcated so that you don't get the discussion of both at the same time. If you're impacting on the available money to local government disproportionately spends on education and on public safety. If you're impacting on state government disproportionately spends on K-12, on the university system, and on medical services, on Medicaid. So where in those programs are you going to find sufficient savings when you reduce the revenue streams to them? Or are there other programs that are less not as large that you would simply eliminate altogether that are done? But those are until anyone who favors tax reductions, tax controls, are willing to get to that level of specificity, they've only cracked the subject, but they haven't really dealt with it seriously.
Well, I agree with that, and I think that when I listened to Bob Beers this morning, it just seemed to me there's something counterintuitive about saying we're going to cut a fee, but you're going to have more money next year. I mean, if I went home to my wife and said, listen, I'm cutting my salary, but you're going to have more money next year, she's going to say, well, you don't get there unless you cut something else out. I mean, you don't have more money. So I didn't follow that.
Isn't that just the rate of growth that the counties are experiencing year over year?
Well, I suspect it is the rate of growth, and I'm not so certain that it's important that the correct economic analysis is to look at rate of growth versus inflation. Because I think at the end of the day, I think Larry's exactly right. At the end of the day, you have to look at what services government's putting out and what are those services valuable. To look at a litmus test of saying, well, this is an inflation rate, then we're exceeding the inflation rate. I mean, if that were the case, he's clearly out of mainstream Republican politics because the federal government is spending like they're drunken sailors.
Yeah, and Senator Ensign is heading up a group here of senators who are trying to actually go back to solid conservative values.
And some needs grow disproportionate to population.
I want to change the subject because we've only got a couple of minutes left here. As we're taping this on Monday, the 31st, Nevada Day, the President has put forward Judge Samuel Alito Jr. as his nominee for the Supreme Court. He came with a built-in nickname, Scalito. He is very much far to the right. Bill, you're a conservative thinker. Has the President gone overboard in the other direction now from Harriet Miers to Judge Alito?
Of course, yeah, I'm an extreme fiscal conservative, Sam, but as far as being a religious socialist, I'm not. So am I overjoyed with this? We knew we were going to get one of these because we elected George Bush.
It's a brilliant move. The President is going to win this one big. Every Republican is going to want to show that they really do like him, so they're going to stay with him on this one. Every Democrat has a good cause now to oppose it, and the campaigns of next year are started.
Well, I think what he's done is defined the term judicial activist, because that's what he's appointed. I mean, you know, the rubric is you don't want someone to bring their bias into the courtroom. This gentleman clearly has a bias and clearly has no hesitancy about enforcing that bias when he gets in the courtroom. And that's, to me, that's what judicial activism is. So, you know.
Not a good day for the courts.
Well,
not a good day for the courts, I don't think. But,
a judicial activist is one with whom you would disagree.
Yeah.
That's bottom line. That's what
it's a better day for the institution of the courts than had Harriet Miers had been continued. So I think from a political point of view, this is a very good follow-up to a very bad set of decisions.
Well, I disagree with that. I don't think that that's a good political decision at all. I mean, maybe it's pandering to the base or maybe and left or right, but you know what? I continue to believe in this world, the people are looking for mainstream moderate folks, and to choose a nominee that is going to exacerbate the partisan split in this country, I don't think is good for the court, and I don't think is good for the country. And you know what? I don't mind the President saying, look, I'm going to do something that's going to unify the country. We need a little dose of that.
But you know what? And I have to say, in all sincerity, a great thank you to the President for making this nomination, because it will be great fodder for programs like this for weeks to come. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers. Brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seemed to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers anytime at NevadaNewsmakers.com.
Well, tomorrow we have the premier political reporter in the state of Nevada, Jane Ann Morrison from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.